Welcome back to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I am the Clydesdale, and I am so privileged to be with this year's 35 to 39-year-old CrossFit Games champion, Bryan Wong. What's going on, Bryan?
Hey, Scott. Nice to be here. Good to finally be on your podcast officially.
Yeah. We actually talked at Masters Fitness Collective last year.
Yep.
And I had technical difficulties where your mic didn't work during that interview. So it went to the cutting room floor, as they say.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
So,
You'd think I'd know what I was doing being a professional, but I don't always check everything like I'm supposed to.
Mistakes happen. Every day on my job, I learn something new.
Yeah. Well, I want to open with, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And what I want to show you is your homepage with CrossFit. And can you see that?
Yeah.
So how does it feel when you open up your homepage and you have that big first underneath your name?
I mean, it's pretty cool. But to be honest with you, I haven't actually looked at it yet. So, but yeah, it's a cool feeling, man. I'd have never expected to even, make it to the games and let alone be first. So, I mean, that's accomplishment of a lifetime for me,
Well, I know last year when we talked at Masters Fitness Collective, you were doing what they were calling the Baby Masters division. You would have been like at the oldest tier of that 30 to 34-year-old division.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you won last year at MFC, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, I was the old guy in the Babies Masters group. So, yeah, in the 30 to 34 range.
And for our listeners that don't know, like I've been a volunteer in the Central Regional or Central East Regional since way back in the day, like 2014. So I have seen you a ton.
Yeah.
Right. Because you were a perennial regional participant, but never got that shot at the big show.
Yeah. I started in 2016 was my first trip to regionals, and it's always been in the central region. It's always been like the stacked region, forever. I mean, it had Rich in it, and then Rich left, and then you had, some other big names in there like Panchik and Graham Holmberg, and Dan Bailey was in there for a while, and then Matt Frazier came in. So it's always been the stacked region. So I never finished inside the top 10 there.
Yeah, as a fan, it was awesome, but as a participant, I'm sure it was very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was a learning experience. I mean, you can't go in there. You can't go in with that group expecting to, have an easy time of it, right?
Yeah, I know. My gym owner, who is Patrick O'Connell, Christy's husband, for those of you who don't know, and he said the highlight of his career was when he made regionals and he was in the hundreds. And he looked down the line and it was Froning, Bailey, Holmberg, Hendren, all these things. And he was in the same heat as them. And that is the highlight, that he got to compete on the same floor with all of them.
Yep. Yeah. It was something cool for me. I never, I think I started in 2014, and then, 2016, I'd been following for a couple of years, and just to be, I think I got in the hot heat on the final day of that 2016 regional, and then I absolutely crapped my pants on the first workout, but it was fun. It was awesome sharing the floor with those guys. Yeah.
So when we talked last year, you talked about how you were dipping your toe in this Masters Waters thing, and that you thought that if you put some effort in, you would have a shot at making the games. And the MFC was kind of your first step down that path. So what did you learn at MFC that made you kind of go for it this year in the Masters division?
Man, I don't know. That kind of just little fire under me. I didn't. I don't want to say I learned anything new, but it kind of just gave me the confidence to kind of pursue it a little bit. I think that was kind of the big thing, the big takeaway for me. I went in, trying to be a top 10 or maybe podium there, and then I ended up winning, and it it gave me a little confidence back because I hadn't competed for I think over 2 years, at that point.
Well, and in the Masters world, if you're at the top end of that age bracket, that's a tough road to hoe, because you're giving up 5 years to the people in the youngest end of that bracket. And I know that experience and all that stuff kind of plays its part, but if you go to a major competition like MFC and you win it as the oldest person in the division, it's got to give you confidence.
Yeah. It did. And I didn't think of it like that. I mean, still in that age bracket, we were kind of all even players. You're still kind of young still. But granted, when you get to 35 and you're going against guys that are, pushing 40, that definitely gives you a little bit of an advantage. But
yeah. And you competed at the highest levels into your 30s, because even after regionals, you did some of the sanctional events. I think Wadapalooza, maybe strength and depth.
No, I did Wadapalooza and the Filthy 150 in the 2019. Yeah. And that was a stacked one too. That one had Justin Medeiros and Roman Krenikov on the podium at that one too. So
yeah. So you go to the games, and what was it like? Just like walking in, getting the swag. It was your first time there. You're treated like royalty when you go in, and Noble gives you all the stuff. Like, what was all that feeling after all these years of competing?
Man, it was cool. I kind of really had no idea what to expect. I mean, I was thinking like the regionals treatment, they kind of go in and they give me like the jerseys and things like that, and then kind of boot me out. But man, I went in there with a backpack, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna carry all this stuff back to my car. I had like backpacks full of shoes and one for just shorts, and then another one for accessories. It was out of control. I had no idea. So. But the real feeling was kind of walking in and kind of getting the tour and the lay of the land, and be like, here's where you'll be competing. Here's the Coliseum. I mean, that was cool. Just walking in there and seeing it. Yeah.
So is that the first time you'd been to the event?
Yeah, I haven't even been to the games until then.
Wow. Yeah. All the stuff you probably watched on a stream at one point, now it's reality, and it's right there in front of your face.
Yeah. Generally, it was if I was watching the games, I was streaming it live at work or something. While I've got it going in the background while I'm crunching numbers on a different screen. So.
Yeah, I think we all do that.
Yeah.
So you get there, you get the tour. Day one of competition starts up. How are you feeling going into the games this year? Are you going in with a sense of confidence, or just making it a learning experience to kind of see what it's all about?
Man, I wanted to do. I just wanted to have fun and enjoy the experience. I kept telling my coach, he was kind of giving me a hard time because I kept telling him, I'll finish top 10. That's my guarantee. And he kind of gave me a hard time because he wanted me to have that confidence. But I think I probably did it more just to keep my cool and the anxiety down. But because that's what I was feeling mostly, anxiety. I was anxious. I wanted to get in and do work, and I just swim in my lane and do my best, and see how it turned out.
The years I've watched you compete, you've always been like this steady Eddie, right? You don't get like super emotional one way or another. You just kind of keep trucking along. Do you think that helps you on a competition floor, or is that just a really good poker face?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of probably a little bit of both. I try to, like you go back in the warm up area, and there's all different sorts of people. There's guys that try to stay loose and relax, and there's guys that are super serious and they got to get in the zone, and that's just not me. I enjoy working out. I'm the relaxed guy. I like to joke and talk a little trash and kind of make it fun.
And I think, having been to both kinds of events, the Masters really lend itself to that. Most of the Masters are guys that are working a full-time job. This is a passion on the side that they kind of do and have fun with. And so the backstage is a lot more loose than in the open division.
Oh, for sure. I had a lot more fun this year at the games than I would at a typical like the regionals or any event like that. I enjoyed it a lot and spent a lot of time, and especially because there's only 10 competitors, you really get to know the guys and kind of learn their personalities and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're all in the top heat and you're there the whole time.
Yeah.
So you go through the weekend. What I found fascinating is, for someone who won the event, you didn't win your first event until I think it was event 7 out of 8.
Yeah, the swimming event of all the things. And maybe it's because I didn't have that hair on the top of my head dragging me down or something. It's
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The swimming event was the only one that I won. And I really, funny story, I didn't even know that I won. I was walking around for like probably the half hour. I didn't even figure out until we were on the bus back to the Coliseum that I had won. So I just, nobody kind of knew what was going on. I had the screen on the monitor had like a bag over it, and you couldn't see very well because it was just, there's water on it. And I left my goggles on, and they had water in them. So I was just cranking on that ski erg, and it finished, and I had no idea what happened, but I knew, I knew I swam hard and I enjoyed it.
So a couple questions about that event. One, how cool was it that every division did that event? And you could almost compare and contrast to the other divisions.
And I thought it was awesome. I really liked seeing all the different, from on the master side, seeing how every age group did. And, especially like the teens and stuff, man, they just killed it. Some of them it was amazing to see that. And then obviously to compare yourself to the other men's elite group, how you stacked up against them. And it was just interesting to see. I really enjoyed that aspect of the workout for sure.
Yeah. And did you take a peek at the open division men just to kind of see where you'd fall?
Yeah, actually, I personally haven't done any like leaderboarding in that. I didn't, but when I was on a I think with like Matt Rattay, I was on a call with him, and he looked it up, and I think I would have been, I don't know, I would have finished somewhere around Pat Vellner or something.
Okay.
But I'm
not sure that's the best thing during a swim event.
Yeah, I don't
know. So looking at that, so my background is in swimming, as well as some other sports. When I look at that event, I didn't see it as a swimming event. I saw it as a ski erg event.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what it was. I mean, obviously, if you're not a good swimmer, that kind of hurts you a little bit. And I think I'm pretty comfortable in the water. I'm just not, I'm not fast. So I just wanted to keep my breathing, my rhythm steady and not panic, so that I could get out and make it a skiing event. But I could see if you panic a little bit in the water, where that would definitely hurt you on the ski. So but it was definitely just how hard you wanted to crank that ski erg at the end.
Yeah, because up until the last 2 rounds, if you could comfortably get through the water and then get through just the calories you needed in that round, then you were good to go. And then the last 2 rounds is really where you had to like head down, finish fast so you had more time, and plug away on that ski erg as hard as you could.
Yeah, I tried to, my strategy, I think, was like to try to finish and, with 15 seconds on the clock, just every round, and that way I wasn't pushing myself too hard on that ski erg, just to trying to low and slow the whole time and save a little juice for the end,
Yeah. So then in that week, you won that event. You took 4 seconds, which is probably what won you the games, is that consistency. What was your favorite event out of all of that?
Ooh. Probably the Carrie and Karen, which it was also the worst event in my opinion. It hurt the worst, but yeah, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I like the strongman, the odd objects carrying, and just the grind of the sled push. That was probably my favorite event. That, and it ended with kind of a sled race against Josh Marunde, so that kind of made it exciting too. But yeah, that odd object, and everybody loves wall balls, so it was fun. That was a good one for me.
What's the event that you were most proud of at the end of the week? Not necessarily the best finish, but what you personally overcame something in.
Man, that's a good question. Probably the swim and ski event. I really had it in my mind that I was gonna finish at 8th or something like that, and I had to tell myself, just because I've only competed in a swim event and probably 3 different CrossFit events, so I just had to tell myself, just do swim. I mean, no pun intended, but swim in your lane, do your thing, and see how it works out. And I really thought I would finish in the bottom 2 or 3, and I totally surprised myself there.
So at the end of the day, you take the gold. There was a ceremony inside the beer garden, but then they brought you out on the floor with the Coliseum packed. Mm-hmm. You got to wear your medal out there. You got to go out with all the other champions. What was that experience like? Because that Coliseum was rocking.
Yeah, that was cool. Just one, you see all the athletes and being with all these people. I mean, they're all champions for their age groups. They're all, the adaptive groups, and just to share a floor with all those people and all the great things that they've done, all the time that they put in, and to kind of share that one moment. And then also, the fans, most of the times, you don't, when you go out on the competition floor, I mean, me personally, I don't see the fans. I try not to focus on anything except for my lane, whatever's right in front of me. So to go out there and see all these people that are watching, and I mean, that was really a cool experience. So, it's a lot different when you just go out, you do your workout, and then you get off the floor.
So you say you keep focused on your lane. I know your wife, Tara, like to be at the end of your lane.
Yeah.
So how important is it for you to be able to see her during an event?
Not really, to be honest with you. She likes to be in my lane to watch me, and I really love being able to share the moment at the end of a workout with her. So during the event, I don't notice anything other than whatever's right in front of me. I focus on the next step, and but it's really cool to share the experience once that's over with, to just give her that moment to her and share it with her. So I screwed up, and I didn't. I blew it. I didn't get the Coliseum passes. I thought those were included, and so she didn't get to see any of the Coliseum events until, of course, the very last one. So, but what was cool was on that very last one, she found which was the sandbag clean workout. She found someone that was willing to part ways with their ticket for a little bit, and she got in there and she got to be at the end of the lane when I won, and it was, solidified. And that was awesome for me, because I got to see her and my kids and kind of, share that moment with them. So, I mean, that was probably my favorite moment of the weekend, just finishing and being, knowing that I had won, and her being right there with the kids to celebrate with me.
So you have two kids, two sons?
I got one boy and one girl.
One boy, one girl. Okay. And they were all there at the games this year?
Yep. My boy Nash, he's 3, and my girl Nova, she's about to turn 6.
Okay. And what do they say about Daddy when they see the gold medal and you out on the competition floor?
Yeah, they're mostly focused on the next round of snacks coming up. But you can tell my daughter's pretty proud of me. She talks about it all. She still talks about it, the competition and winning. But yeah, at the end of the day, those are the events, like CrossFit events it's tough for them. They like to see the workouts, but the days are long, and especially when it's hot out.
Yeah. And it was brutal this year.
Oh yeah, it was, especially out there, like in the midday at the in the stadium. It was toasty.
Yeah. So how important, you hadn't competed in 2 years. So your kids probably don't have any memory of you like out on a competition floor before this year. How cool was it that you had that moment for them to be able to watch you and see what you kind of do on the side from your day-to-day job?
Yeah. Well, so I've competed. So in the past couple of years, I competed at Masters Fitness Collective, and prior to that, I think the last one would have been the 2020 Wadapalooza. So they didn't really watch that, but yeah, Masters Fitness Collective probably is the first one that they saw, where they actually watched me compete. And my son doesn't really get it, but my daughter she's really enthusiastic about it, and she thinks it's cool. But she, when she found out like that I'd won and I got like a medal and stuff like that, they were all about it. They're like, "Oh, the medal!" And I let them wear it around for a little bit too. So I thought that was cool.
Do you have it displayed somewhere?
Yeah, I have it hanging on my. Right now, it's temporarily in the wall in the bedroom. So I didn't. My wife hung it there. I don't know if that's the best place for it, but yeah, there it is. It might move. It might move over to the home gym. I've got it. I've got the fittest in. It's kind of in like a shadow box with the Fittest on Earth T-shirt with the medal hanging around it. So.
Yeah, that's much nicer than what Anna Tobias does with hers, just to let you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her Olympic gold medal and her 2 CrossFit Games gold medals are in a drawer in a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. I'm not one to brag about, things like that. I think there's a lot of other important stuff, but, my wife and I talked about it, like putting it up and, having a display, and I don't know. It'll probably just go out in the garage somewhere at some point, but it's a pretty cool display she made for me. So I really appreciate that.
So the last thing I want to ask you about the games is you get up on the podium and you're on the podium with Roy Gamboa and Craig Kinney,
Mm-hmm.
2 longtime OGs of the sport as well. That also had to like almost vindicate your spot that you did something special, because they've been there for a long time, and to be able to top them at the games is pretty cool. Did you look around and say like, wow, this is pretty awesome?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been kind of chased. I've always watched, Roy on their leaderboard, and I've always been a fan of his because he's a nice guy. He's kind of quiet, but he's, super nice guy. And I've always just enjoyed watching him he's kind of a similar athlete to me. He's not real flashy. He doesn't win a lot of events, but he's steady and up there at the top. And, just to compete with those guys, I thought was, such a great experience. But then, when I'm standing up there on the podium with him, I was like, man, this is it. I did something that I set out to do, 10 years ago, finally made it there. And, I never thought I would. The only thing would, I really wish like Sam Dancer I would have had an opportunity to compete against him again. Because he's, again, he's another great athlete, super great guy. And he deserved to be there too. And he brings a lot of fandom to the sport. There's a lot of people that follow him. And, but, unfortunately he had to drop out before even the first event. And, but still to share the competition floor with all those guys and then let alone be on the podium with them was just an awesome experience.
Yeah. It's sad about Sam because he came in great shape. It would have been a fun event to see the two of you go head to head. That's a shame he got hurt right before the games.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a big, concern of mine. I was, dealing with, kind of the same thing, like a slight bicep injury. And I've been nursing it for a few weeks and, it just, ended up getting better just in time. And I didn't really notice it much on while we were competing. So that was one thing. I mean, he said that I was like, man, I had the same fear. Like it could be, I think he said he heard it just warming up. He jumped up on a pull-up bar to do some just like strict pull-ups and it just popped. And I always have those same concerns, now that I'm getting older, it's serious stuff, man. I woke up the other day and my ankle was just like swollen. I had no idea what I did. I couldn't walk on it.
Tell me about it. I'm 52 and my workout today has me hurting pretty bad.
Yeah.
So MFC's coming up in 8 days. Something like that.
I think, yeah, 9, maybe 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
And they've announced all the workouts except for the final.
Yeah.
You're going to hop back in the pool. Do you got more confidence going into a pool workout at MFC?
Yeah, I do. After I saw the workout, it's only 50 meters at a time. So, that's kind of the same thing. Now I just have to be fast in the water because it truly is a swimming event, right? It
is straight up swim.
Yeah.
Is there any of the workouts that you looked at and said, ooh, that's a good one for me?
No, not at all. Actually, I've been kind of nervous about them. I've been dealing with kind of like a foot and ankle, injury. It's kind of a nagging injury. So, almost all the workouts are, like running. You've got the crossover singles and then box jumps and snatch and stuff. So it's been tough on my ankle trying to work around those and practice some of those workouts. But I think I'll be healthy by the time they come around. But yeah, we'll see. I just got to do my thing and kind of finish just outside the spotlight every round, right?
Yeah. So are you going to take the family to Fort Wayne?
Yeah. I have family that lives in Fort Wayne and will likely stay with them. So, and it's just, for me, the Coliseum's like a 40-minute drive from where I live. So it's a nice location. And, my sister lives there like 20 minutes from the Coliseum. So we'll just probably stay with them.
And do you live in Ohio?
I live in Indiana. I live in Warsaw, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew you were close to us. I just didn't know exactly how close, because I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So
yeah, not too far.
Just 2.5 hour drive up for us.
Yeah. I live. I'm in Warsaw. It's just west of Fort Wayne on 30. So Warsaw, Indiana, the orthopedic capital of the world. In case you were curious. where that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the vendors, Vindicate, he says he wishes his drive was only 40 minutes.
Yeah. I see that.
And if you don't know who Vindicate is, he makes the most awesome t-shirts and apparel out there. So
He's going to be
pretty
a
cool
vendor
guy.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, which I'll check him out.
And so you're going to be there. It's not defending your title because you're in a new division completely.
Mm-hmm.
So you're setting a new standard in the 35 to 39. What I love about MFC, and I wanted to get your impressions. It's like we talked about with the Masters being more loose behind the scenes than the open division. All the athletes just walk around. Like if you're a fan of the sport, all the athletes are just like hanging out in the stands, in the crowd, walking around Vendor Village. There's no like pretense to the whole thing. It is a blast. Do you feel a sense of duty or just an enjoyment hanging out with the fans at an event like that?
Oh, I enjoy it. I love that. And I like where I can go out and actually watch the events too, like the other heats and the other age groups go. That's one thing. Like at the games, I didn't. We were kind of moving back and forth from one event to the next, and you had to be in the right place at the right time. And at Masters Fitness Collective, I could during the rest time I could just walk around the corner and watch and sit in the stands and be part of the experience myself, and that's kind of fun too. So, and then of course it's kind of a smaller. I don't know, it's not a small venue, but it has like that regionals feel. Like you can walk out and you can go just be part of the action if you want to, and you don't have to travel very far to go and experience anything. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they're going to have three active floors this year.
Oh no way. That'll be cool
because they have the teams of two and all the divisions. They're going to run 3 floors simultaneously, and then the swim event off campus. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. There's going to be something going on all the time.
I keep forgetting about the teams. I think that'll be a fun thing to watch too. Last year they didn't do the teams, and if I wasn't going back to compete as an individual, I probably would have found somebody that would wanted to go and do a team one with me on that.
Yeah, there's some really interesting teams, like people who have teamed up, some different champions. Yeah, Vindicate was bringing up, there's over 550 competitors this year.
Yeah.
As opposed to 190 last year.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that'll be fun.
Hopefully the crowds come with them.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll make it a little more crazy, but it'll be a lot more fun to watch. A lot more just things to explore. I love watching the team events. It's so much fun to see. And then obviously the other masters and the age groups those are a blast to watch too. But something about the team. I always played team sports, so something about that camaraderie that you see out there is I don't know, it gets me excited, I guess.
Yeah, and you've got some legends going team like Ron Ortiz and Will Powell and some of those older divisions. Legends of the sport, multiple gold medalists at the games going team. It's going to be a fun event to watch. Before I let you go, Bryan, I want to talk about your background a little bit because it's a little bit fascinating to me. And the first thing is, I don't know if you know this, but we share something in common, and that is we're both Chicago Bears fans.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff right there. It's not been a great season.
No. The last week I have some optimism.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have a quarterback for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. I watched that. I don't watch every week, but I did get to watch that last one. That was exciting.
Yeah. So I've been a diehard Chicago Bears fan since the early 80s. How does a kid from Eastern Indiana become a Bears fan?
Man, so North Central Indiana, I mean, we believe up here that the Bears are the original Indiana team. I mean, forget those Baltimore Colts that, the Bears are the original Indiana team. And up here, it's pretty common, actually, North Central Indiana, for a lot of people to be Bears fans. So it's it's part of the territory. We're just as close to Chicago as we are to Indianapolis. So I don't know.
And your background, you said, is team sports, but you actually played college football.
Yep. Yeah. The Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology.
And you played what position?
A little bit of everything, actually. I played linebacker, and I played tailback a little bit as well. And then special teams. I was on all the special teams too.
So you also studied in mechanical engineering, and you're still doing that to this day as your day job?
Yep. I do. Right now I'm working with robotics and special like shot peening processes and stuff like that, making medical devices.
That's just fascinating to me. And so you help design those?
No, not on the design end. I have inputs to make them more manufacturable, but most of the time we get like a print or a design, and we work with product development to create something that's manufacturable, and then we go ahead and I put the processes and I develop all the machining and things like that to make it and make it efficiently and cost effective.
That makes sense. So there's a designer who doesn't necessarily have the mechanical traits to know how to produce it. And then it comes to you to say, okay, this has to be changed so that it can actually be a real thing.
Yep. Yeah. And then actually go through like all the validations and all the process development to get it out the door at a cost that they want. Right. That's the other thing is sometimes we can make it, and I tell them that we can make it, and they're like, well, how much? And that's when we start working.
Yeah.
But yeah, our development site's actually in Memphis, Tennessee. So, a lot of it's done, just, it's remote. The development guys, we kind of work remotely. So that makes it a little bit difficult, but, we still get the work done.
I read somewhere that your first ever workout was the Filthy 50.
Yep. Yeah. My first one, I saw it in the, it was probably back in 2008 or 2009. I saw it in a Muscle and Fitness magazine. I think it was probably 2009 because I'd have been in college at the time. So yeah, Muscle and Fitness magazine. I was a subscriber, and I saw that workout in there. I was like, man, that'd be easy. I can do that. And then, it was like 40 minutes later, I just in a pool of sweat, just rolling around on the floor. Typical still, but maybe I just do it faster.
Yeah. All those light barbells are pretty misleading.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. My first ever CrossFit workout was Murph.
Ooh.
And I was over 500 pounds when I went to CrossFit for the first time. So it was a very scaled version of Murph. But now Murph holds a very special place in my heart, that I've actually done it now, RX. But that first day was nowhere close to RX.
That's awesome. That's a brutal one to start on, right? A lot of body weight movements, and but good for you, man, sticking through it. Like, I don't know if I would have, started right out of the gates with Murph. I don't know if I would have stuck around.
When I walked into the gym and I saw that on the board and I read the description, I hadn't even met with the coach yet. I was ready to run. Not like the mile to start off Murph, like just to get the hell out of Dodge.
Back to the car, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But luckily he came out and grabbed me before that happened. And when he scaled it back for me, and it was hard, but it was really scaled. And I got to see the other people do it, the full version. like then that gave me something I wanted.
Yeah.
And it drove me. Like for me, I don't think it would have clicked in if it was just a basic workout I viewed that day. Like I needed it to be something to be motivational, to get me back into that competitive headspace again.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny how like we always do like an open gym for Murph here at CrossFit Haymaker, and it's kind of the same thing. People come in and they're just inspired. Whether they scale or they do it with a partner or something, they share the reps. It's one of those workouts that just the volume is there, and it kind of inspires you to kind of keep moving. Yeah, that's amazing. And at 500 pounds, and look at you now, man, crushing it.
Yeah. And we're trying to get smaller now, trying to lose 100 pounds before the 2023 CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So we're on track. Just got to keep it going.
Yeah. Good for you, man. I believe in you.
You brought up CrossFit Haymaker, one of the coolest names for a CrossFit gym. Grew up a boxing fan. Haymakers, are the big punch. It kind of describes what CrossFit can be, right? That big punch in the face. That helps you get fitter and healthier and combat disease and all of that. How important has that community been throughout your career?
That's been kind of a driving force for me. But real quick on the name Haymaker, it's funny you brought that up because that's exactly what it is. The owner, he fought MMA and Ryan Hill, and he was in the Taekwondo, and he fought professionally for a while, and then also being in Warsaw, Indiana, most of us got our athletic background in the hayfields, so. Yeah, dual meaning. But as far as the community goes, man, it's been so critical to everything. I never went in there thinking I was going to be competitive. I just wanted to be part of something. I hated going into, like I said, I was in team sports, and I hated going into like the Anytime Fitness or whatever, and sitting in a room full of people with headphones on and nobody's talking to each other, and it's kind of quiet, and I want to be part of a community, kind of push each other and have some friendship, and when they started the gym, I was the first person to say, hey, I'm part of it. And Ryan Hill, he actually hired me in as a coach, so I was kind of his first coach to come in there. And I just wanted to be part of it. I wanted to teach. I wanted to learn. And along the way, everybody kind of encouraged me. They're like, hey, you're good at this. You've got a shot. I mean, why don't you try? Because I really had no interest in competing. I just wanted to. I liked working out. I liked being the social butterfly, and even in coming into the games, I mean, there was people there that wanted to be part of it, and like I had guys that would come in and they would do the judging for me, measure all the crazy floor layouts, and they just rallied around me, kept me in a positive headspace, and I mean, it was amazing to be part of that community, and it's also awesome to see that. I mean, it's a deep community. They come together for everything. I mean, they raise funds for people that are in need all the time. Someone has an idea, they come and do it. I mean, there's a group of, after the games, I took a lot of the noble stuff that I had that I wasn't going to wear, and all the shoes and stuff, and I sold them. And the community, they kind of rallied around and they auctioned off some stuff, and they did like raffles, and they were able to raise money to send to help pay off a group a couple in the community that had been going to missionary school So they were able to pay, fit the bill for whatever they had remaining in their missionary school. I mean, it's just the community is amazing, and it just keeps getting stronger, and they keep just showing up. It's fantastic.
So you mentioned missionary work. I know when we talked at MFC, faith is a very big part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance work, the competition side, your family life, and your faith?
Man, it's tough sometimes, but faith is behind it all. That's what keeps me present, and it keeps me just there and in the moment. It's what kind of guides me, and I try to honor God with everything that I do and that I'd say, and inevitably I just fall short anyway. But I kind of I know I would want to honor God with the way that I present myself when I'm at a competition or in the community, or the way that I kind of the way that I spend my time with my family, and even at work. And I have rules, and I have to set boundaries, with family too. I never work out after work. I try to do it, in the mornings or on my lunch break. And the mornings suck, but it's, I'd rather save that time after work and spend that time with my family if I can. So balance is there, but you have to have clear boundaries to do it. And I don't want that to get in the way,
I know you said you wanted to honor God through everything that you do. How much harder is it to remember to honor him when you win the CrossFit Games than when you're struggling to get to the CrossFit Games?
Man, it's not really harder. It's just you have to have that mindset before you go and do it, and have a level of kind of humility. I didn't do this on my own, and it's a significant achievement, but it's not the most significant achievement. And it's, for me, it's, I won the CrossFit Games, but how do I use my platform? How do I use my position where I'm at now to honor God and to bring things, bring glory to him? And that's kind of the way that I think of it, right? If I win, it's a stepping stone toward that honoring God, and what can I do to further, bring glory to him? That's kind of the way I look at it going in. And, like I said, I didn't expect to win. I just, once it happened, I'm like, I can be, a better steward of my faith by doing this, now that I am where I am. Right.
We talked earlier about the Central Regional being just a stacked division, but it's also full of very devout Christian men. Mm-hmm. Rich Froning does what he does for the glory of God. Dan Bailey, Graham Holmberg. Did any of that help with setting example of how to honor God in the way you act during competitions? Do you ever get a chance to talk to them about things like that?
I did, actually. Dan Bailey and I, we kind of developed a little bit of a relationship when we were in Ireland, and we had talked about faith and honoring God. And I've always been so impressed with the way that he carries himself, and the way that Dan just has that love and passion for God. I think that's amazing. And the same for Rich. And I've never personally spoken with Rich. So, but Dan, I definitely looked up to him as kind of that model. So yeah, it's awesome to see that out there, and that it's, that those guys are doing it too. And you can use them as an example of how to honor God and how to bring glory, in that way.
This is going to be a weird question. Hopefully it comes out right. But when I first started CrossFit in the gym I was going to at the time, it had a lot of church backing, right? So, and a lot of us went to that church. So I don't know what came first, the church or the gym or the church, but at some point it kind of grew together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it helped people grow their faith while you're suffering beside one another in the gym. And then afterwards you talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any of those experiences? It sounds like your gym is very active in missionary work. Are they active within a church that you go to there as well?
There's a lot of churches in Warsaw, so everybody kind of, they go to their own. But I mean, there was a while that we were doing on Saturday mornings, we would do like a long and, pretty nasty workout. And then we would do afterward, we would do like a Bible study or just a talk, and try to get, a little more people a little more involved. But that kind of, Saturdays kind of got tough to do. And, especially around like when COVID happened. And so we haven't been doing that lately, but, I would say they kind of, most of the people in that community were, it was church came first. But, we're a relatively new gym too. So hopefully, we're making an impact, and people can see, the fruits of our faith and what God brings to our lives through the way we act. And, if that's not the case, then we need to make a change,
Yeah. And I think with what we had going on, half started with the church, half started with the gym, and it just kind of melded into a bigger blob of Christianity at both eventually.
Very cool.
I just want to finish up with, I read that you did an interview somewhere where you're not sure yet on the 2023 season and whether you're going to defend your championship yet. Now that you've had few months after the games, have you thought about whether it's worth the sacrifice to go through this again to try to defend the title?
No, I haven't. My method is just to, do it day by day. It's not the most important thing in my life. So, if it works out, then I'll keep going. And that's kind of the way I did this year. After I finished, third in quarterfinals, I kind of thought, I got a chance to do this. I'll kick it into high gear now, and we'll start, training. I was doing sometimes twice a day and just trying to, but I didn't really start training seriously until after right before quarterfinals, I guess. So, that's the way I plan to do it now. I'm gonna try to, I'll keep working out because I love working out. I love doing CrossFit and I love the community. But, if I'm in a position to win, then I'll go for it at the end. It's just.
So what does the off season look like to you? Is it just classwork, like going into to jump in on a class, or do you still do your own kind of thing on the side?
I usually just do my own thing on the side. A lot of times I'm not in there for classes. And I don't, my work schedule sometimes, doesn't allow me to be in there. So, sometimes I'll just do my lifting at home, and then I'll do, like some conditioning or something on the row or at the gym during my lunch break or something. So, I don't jump into classes very often, but I like to be there if they're out working out, and, kind of heckle some of the guys at the gym and be part of the community still. I get involved, but I don't necessarily do the class workouts.
So last question, if you're only 40 minutes from Fort Wayne, how many people from your gym are coming over to watch?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know we have at least one person is volunteering for the judging, but usually a good amount show up. I think last year we had like 10, 15 people show up and just come in for at least one day.
Yeah.
But I think we had more than that actually show up for the game, which is games which Madison's like a 4.5 hour, 4 hour drive. But yeah, I imagine we'll have a good showing this year at the Masters Fitness Collective. A lot of guys and girls there like to come and watch the events too. It's more fun. And I think last year it was nobody really knew about it. I just kind of showed up and did it. And this year, more people are kind of aware that it's going on, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we will see you there. Kat and myself will be working the event this year. I'm actually coming out of retirement to judge again because they need so many judges this year. So make sure your movements are solid.
I'll be working on the depth on my wall balls there and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. And so, Bryan, we'll see you there. It's always a treat to have you on, to get to chat with you, whatever, when I see you live or on Zoom. It's awesome. And so we'll see you soon, buddy.
Yeah, it's great hearing from you, man. I'll see you. Can't wait.